Namaste everyone and welcome back to Live Stronger. Today we are going to work on our shoulders. As assured to you in my last video, we are going to increase the intensity slightly either by adding an exercise or a set or the number of repetitions, whichever is favorable to that muscle group. So to start off with, I'm starting with my regular stretches. This is not going to change. Every day we are going to do the greatest stretch to ensure opening up our hips and our upper spine. So 5 repetitions each side. By now you should be very well aware how to do this. Even if you're not able to do it at the same pace as I do, you can still stop in between, rebalance yourself, and execute 1 rep at a time. Take your time, take those couple of minutes to ensure you get the 5 repetitions on each side. It's quite beneficial for our overall mobility. So, as you can see, you just have to get one leg up, push the other leg as far behind as possible, and then twist. Get your body into a straight line. Both arms are in a straight line when you turn up, thus getting an absolutely good thoracic stretch. So that's about it for our dynamic stretching. I just go for the deep squat like we always do, at least for few seconds once in a day, making sure we retain our hip mobility and deep squat capabilities. So we are done with our dynamic stretching. Now let's move on to our warm-up exercises. For my first warm-up exercise, I am going to do plate rotations around my head. For the first set, I have used a 5 kilo plate. For my second set, as you can see on the right side, I have used a 10 kilo plate. What I want you to do is target 10 repetitions on each side. So you would be getting around 20 rotations in total. This would make sure that your ball and socket joint is completely warmed up for all the exercises which we are going to do for our shoulders today. It also opens up and takes our shoulder through internal and external rotation at the same time in a safe manner. So while doing the exercises, our muscles are more primed and more ready to go through the range of motion. For my second warm up, I am going to do again using a band, just finishing off my first warm up, last few reps, 20 repetitions in total. So for my second warm up, I'm going to do band pulls, pull aparts. So simply take a resistance band, resistance tube, anything which has resistance, and then making sure get your elbows at 90 degrees and drive your thumbs out like I am doing in the video. Focus on getting the thumbs out or driving your thumbs out using your rear delts only and keeping your elbows close to your body. By this, we are basically activating an entire posterior chain of our shoulder or the shoulder griddle muscles, all the muscles which are on the posterior of our shoulder griddle. So again, they are quite important for all our shoulder movements for stability. And to start off with my first exercise, this is what I'm going to do every day: calf raises. I have done 2 sets. Now what I have done here is I have loaded the Smith machine with 50 kilos in total, and I have done as many repetitions I can possibly do. So I think I was getting around 12 to 15 repetitions in both my sets. So what you have to focus is, by the time you're done, your calf should feel really tight. So that means there's a lot of blood circulation there. You can also do a third set, it's absolutely your choice, but for me 2 sets every day I think should be fine. So we are done with our first exercise. You can take a minute's break and then jump into shoulder presses. So for our first exercise, we are going to do overhead shoulder press. Now if you don't have this particular equipment at your disposal, you can use dumbbells, you can use barbells. Any variation of shoulder press is fine. You can do it seated, you can do it standing, just has to be a shoulder press. What I'm doing here is 4 sets, and with the last set being a drop set. So I'm done with my first two sets. For my in between every set, I have taken about a minute's break. Since the equipment is easy to operate, I need not take much longer breaks. As you can see in my third set, I was getting tired quickly, so I used rest pause technique to get couple more sets out of myself. I paused for about 5 to 10 seconds, regained my stability and went for it. On my fourth set, I was doing the drop set technique, wherein if I'm failing, I'm dropping the weight and switching on to lower weight and then trying to get more repetitions, as many as possible. The weight, as I always mention, I start with a challenging weight, making sure that I give my best in my first set itself. So that's it. I think I have got a few more repetitions. Yes. So 4 sets, last set being a drop set. Third set, you can use rest pause technique to get more repetitions. But that is how you can use dumbbells, you can use barbells, or you can use equipment like this. For my second exercise, I am going to do 3 sets, 12 repetitions of rear delt raises with dumbbells while lying on a inclined bench. We have done this previously. The focus here is to raise the dumbbells behind your body using the contractions of your rear delt or the rear shoulder muscles. By now, my shoulder was really pumped up with all those overhead presses, especially the last drop set which I have done. So I was trying to get as many repetitions as possible with 10 kilos in each hand. You can go heavier if you are able to. If not, you can stick to a low weight. The important part is to control the weight, not let the momentum take over. But yes, that's it for our second exercise. For our third exercise, I'm going to do lateral raises using the cable machine. And here the setup is the starting point is always behind my body at a stretch while the cable is under tension. The cable is not resting when the my arm is behind my body. It's always under tension, and then I raise up. Each hand 12 to 15 repetitions. Uh, you would stop doing it the moment you are unable to raise the cable anymore, or you are unable to get any more effective reps. So that comes around 12 to 15 repetitions. Again, 3 sets, each hand 12 to 15 repetitions. As you can see from behind, make sure the hand goes all the way down towards the midline of your body and the cable has to remain in tension. Do not let the weight rest. That creates a very good stretch, quite helpful. And when you start from there, your shoulder has to do a lot more work in getting your arm up beside you. So done with 2 sets. Let's go for our third set. The break in between, again, 1 minute break is more than sufficient. If you're tired for any after the shoulder presses and the rear delt raises, you might take 2 minutes break between the exercise, but 1 minute break in between sets is sufficient for your shoulder. You might even recover quickly. After 30 seconds, you might feel good to go. So as you see, when I fail to raise my arm anymore is when I switch my hand. That means I've gotten effective repetitions out of my arm. So that's for our third shoulder exercise and fourth exercise for our day. We can progress very quickly when it comes to shoulder. Shoulder also tends to recover quickly. And if you have equipment which puts most of the exercises at ease, it's good. You don't have to rest much, or you don't have to waste much of time in setting up. For my next shoulder exercise, I'm going to do front raises using the cable setup again, making sure that my palms are facing up to get the maximum contraction in my front delt. 3 sets, 12 repetitions, and weight progression is up to you. Start with a challenging weight where 12 repetitions are challenging. As you can see in my facial expressions, it wasn't easy weight to move. I loaded it around, I think, 15 to 19 kilos on each side. So the first few reps were going smoothly, but then once after crossing 5 repetitions is where the challenge starts. When your arms start getting tired, you might feel a little bit of bicep activation. That's absolutely fine. A little bit, if you keep your elbows fixed, there wouldn't be any bicep activation. But since you're raising up, the shoulders contract and your biceps also get a little bit of activation, but that's absolutely fine. That's it. So make sure the weight is challenging while you're doing the repetitions. So for our next shoulder base exercise, I'm going to do the bus drivers. Here, 3 sets. For first set, I'm doing one hand leave variation to get an exaggeration in the twist and also put more challenge on my shoulder in terms of holding the weight. The weight is not much, it's just 5 kilos, but when doing this exercise in the end, it becomes quite challenging because by now your shoulders are absolutely tired and there's a lot of blood in the shoulder. So twisting and holding the weight up becomes really challenging. But it's a good finisher in terms of giving a good internal squeeze to your shoulder muscle. If you're unable to do the one hand leave method, feel free to continue holding both the arms. Now for my second set, as you can see, second and third set, I was not able to leave the arm with 8 kilo medicine ball, so I was doing with both my arms, trying to exaggerate the rotation as much as possible, getting a squeeze in my front delt, and my mid delts were challenged to keep the weight up. And that's it for the exercise. For my last shoulder base exercise or the posterior chain based exercise, I am doing face pulls, 2 sets, up to 15 repetitions, challenging weight. Remember, when you're doing face pulls, you have to pull the rope leading with your wrist, not with your elbows. Your elbows have to stop once they are parallel to your body, and then your wrist has to squeeze it way further. I'm using 2 push down ropes or attachments to give me the extra bit of stretch. You can do it with a single one. Now for this is a new variation which I have added. For our forearm exercise, I am doing drop catches with a weight plate to improve the forearm strength in terms of quick actions. So it's very simple. You take a small plate. I have started with the 5 kilo plate. Take the plate at a high point, drop it, and try to catch it before it hits the ground. Once you do it, you would know how good this exercise is in terms of activating your forearm. Both arms, 12 to 15 repetitions. If you're unable to do with a 5 kilo plate, start with a 2.5 kilo weight. Even if 1 kilo plate, whatever it is, just try and then slowly progress as you feel easier while catching the weight. Not a big, not anything to, not actually, it's not complicated. It's pretty easy. Just drop the weight, catch it before it hits the ground. That's it. As simple. And to finish off, my last exercise is dead hang. Yes, after that forearm exercise, I'll be pretty sure that your forearms will be very tired, but we are still going to do the dead hangs on a regular basis to build our endurance, the forearm endurance. So I was just watching the watch in front of me to see how long I can hold. But otherwise, if you like the workout, if you like the little bit increase in intensity, please do like the video. If you have any feedback, drop a comment. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. That gives me a lot of positive motivation. And motivation is always positive. And if you if you feel that these videos are quite helpful and they can help others, please do share it with your friends and family. I was about to get, I think I got around 60 plus seconds in terms of dead hang after all the work. So I think it's good. Now to finish off with, we are going to finish off with simple decompression rotations. Just dangle your shoulder and make circles on the floor. with both the arms, 10 to 15 circles, while trying to reach the floor but not actually touching it, feeling that ball coming out of the socket. So that's it for our last exercise. Thank you so much for joining me in the workout. I hope the workout is as effective as for you as it was for me, and I wish you a good day, and I'll see you in my next video again with a little bit more increase in a little bit more intensity, maybe new exercise as we did today. So I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good day.